Welcome to another episode of The Blitz. I'll be your host, Bryan Greer, and today I will be recapping UFC 187. That card was incredible. It lived up to the hype that it had been built to, even though Jon Jones was not on this card. It was an incredible event and just had a lot of incredible finishes and everything that you could think of if you're an MMA fan you had in this card. So let's go ahead and jump into the main event, which of course was Anthony Johnson versus Daniel Cormier for the vacant light heavyweight title, which they stripped from Jon Jones because of his shenanigans, as we would like to say. Uh, Daniel Cormier won this fight in a very convincing fashion in the first round by a rear naked choke submission. Incredible fight. Come out just really throwing haymakers. Anthony Johnson came out really trying to just take Daniel Cormier's head off. He was very aggressive, a little disciplined, I believe, in his striking. I think he should have been a little bit more crisp. Threw a wild haymaker, lost his balance, and then Daniel Cormier got on his back in the first round and just wore him out. And it was just ground and pounding him to death. And it was a very vicious first round for Daniel Cormier. And going into the second round, much of the same. Daniel Cormier was able to take him down relentlessly, just from the top, just ground and pound. And Anthony Johnson wasn't able to get back to his feet. He did land a couple, jabs in there, but was just unable to get any of his combos working, striking combos or any of that nature. Also, Anthony Johnson just did not look good with his wrestling at all. I don't know if he trained his wrestling in this training camp because it was just horrible. He did not know how to seem to get up at all from Daniel Cormier's takedowns, and just his takedown defense was very poor. It was just a pure domination from the second round into the third round for Daniel Cormier, and when he body slammed Anthony Johnson in the second round, it was incredible. Just picked him up, body slammed him. I knew this fight was going to be over very quickly. Just gassed out Anthony Johnson in the third round when he locked in the rear naked choke. It was just a thing of beauty. This was vintage Daniel Cormier using his wrestling, using his ground and pound, just broke Anthony Johnson's will. You could just see it that he did not want to go any further in this fight, and if he did not tap out, he would have been put to sleep. So kudos to Daniel Cormier for a dominant light heavyweight title win over Anthony Johnson, because I didn't see it. I thought Anthony Johnson's striking was going to be the difference, and that it was just going to be too much for Daniel Cormier to deal with, but he was able to evade it. He did in the first round, though, take one big strike that almost knocked him outside the octagon, but he did survive it. Like I said, use his wrestling to his advantage, and Anthony Johnson had no answer for it. And I think we all can say that after the fight was the best part, when he won the fight and good old Joe Rogan gave him the mic and had one sentence, and it was for Mr. Jon Jones, telling him to get his shit together, and then proceeded to walk off. How could you not like that? We know that they're rivals. We know that they don't like each other, and that was straight out of a wrestling promotion. I mean, he knew how to get the fans riled up and everything, and that was all he needed to say. So hopefully Jon Jones can finally get his shit together and come back, because I think after that we definitely want to see that fight again, and that really shows you after his domination of Anthony Johnson just how great Jon Jones is, because Daniel Cormier did not threaten Jon Jones when they fought in January at all. So for him to do what he did to Anthony Johnson shows you just how great of a fighter Jon Jones is, for him to dominate Daniel Cormier the way he did. Now, moving on to the co-main event, which was the middleweight title between the champion Chris Weidman and the challenger Vitor Belfort. Another great fight. Ended very quickly by Chris Weidman by TKO in the first round. Now, this fight, even though it was only one round, had a lot of action. Vitor Belfort coming in, as a striker. We know he's won his last three fights by head kick. And we know Chris Weidman, just a relentless, stalking type of fighter. Great submissions, great wrestling. Now, in the first round, Chris Weidman came out with a lot of, stalking, very aggressive, trying to cut off the octagon, came out with a head kick that was blocked by Vitor Belfort, but Belfort came forward, got him with a couple of elbow strikes, couple of strikes to the head, but one thing that Chris Weidman did was cover up. He cut Chris Weidman, but Weidman just seemed to be able to know how to cover up and not panic, and that's what kept them from getting finished, because for a second there, it looked like Belfort was going to be able to finish him against the cage because he was just letting blow after blow, but Chris Weidman kept his composure and really, seemed to just, not get in any kind of trouble. So for Weidman, shook it off, got back into the center of the octagon, and then went for the takedown, completed the takedown, and then right from there, got on top and dominated, just ground and pound, and just till Vitor Belfort gave up by TKO, just brutal strikes from the top. Got in guard, just brutal strikes. It was all over for him, and I just could not believe how easily Vitor Belfort got taken down and had nothing for Chris Weidman. It was just easily taken down. I'm just still speechless by that, because we know that that Vitor Belfort is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and we just didn't see that happen. I don't know if he wasn't ready for the takedowns of Chris Weidman, because Weidman was easily able to do that, and it was all over once he got the takedown. And as we saw, Chris Weidman has proven once again that he is no joke. He is just taking out Brazilian legend after legend. Now he has beaten Anderson Silva twice. He's beaten Vitor Belfort and Leon Machida. So kudos to him. And then after the fight, gave a little speech, please love me kind of speech. I thought it was a little sappy, but hey, if you liked it, you liked it. But like I said, Chris Weidman is definitely the undisputed middleweight king and champion. So he once again came out in dominant fashion. So like I said, both title fights, great action, great finishes, and what can you say? That was just very action-packed. Now, on the undercard, you had a Donald Cerrone versus John Makdessi. Donald Cerrone came out just brutal striking, just head kicks, and just really was landing a lot of his jabs and doing whatever he wanted to John Makdessi, who we know has a lot of brutal leg kicks himself and striking. He can never seem to get it going against Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone was very crisp. And then in the second round, landed a knee combination that broke John Makdessi's jaw. If you saw that, and then the head kick that made John Makdessi quit, that was technical kickboxing and Muay Thai. That was not replayed enough, in my opinion, because that was incredible. He just seemed to come out focused, and hey, Makdessi knew it was over, giving the, hey, I'm done, I don't want no more of this. How can you not blame him? A broken jaw, no telling what could have happened if the fight went into the third round. So Donald Cerrone proved he is ready for a title shot. There is nobody else that deserves a title shot, in my opinion, now winning 8 fights in a row. Nobody in UFC history who has won 8 fights in a row has never gotten a title shot. So I think it's time for Donald Cerrone to get a title shot and fight Rafael Dos Anjos when he does get healthy for the lightweight title. So kudos to Donald Cerrone, who has just looked good for now a couple of years and just really put it together, and is always willing to fight whenever, wherever. So I think that he needs to take a little bit of a break, take some time, like you said in the press conference, have a couple Sunday fun days, and just go and have some fun. So I can't wait to see that fight between Rafael Dos Anjos versus Donald Cerrone. If that does happen, I think that's going to be a very great title fight. Now, moving on to a fight that I believe everybody believes was one of the greatest one-round fights in heavyweight history. Andrei Arlovski versus Travis Browne in the heavyweight division. Wow. Andrei Arlovski, which almost nobody gave a shot, just came out and was landing bomb after bomb on Travis Browne. I was just impressed by his just technical boxing, putting Travis Browne against the cage, just landing blow after blow to his jaw, to his solar plexus, and for a second there, Travis Browne was taking it and stayed in the fight. Now, he's a little loopy and everything, but he was taking it, put it against the cage, and then led a counter right hook and actually did take Arlovski to the ground and almost thought the fight was over because Arlovski's head was against the canvas. He got on his back for a second, but Arlovski somehow got back to his feet, shook it off, and then continued to just pound Travis Browne, who took it and then was just against the cage, just relentless striking, just relentless. They were going back and forth at it until the referee had to stop it late in the first round, because if that continued, I don't know what Travis Browne would have looked like, because Arlovski was just throwing bomb after bomb and just wrecking him against the cage. That was incredible first round. Nobody could see Arlovski coming out looking just like a absolute beast in the first round and winning that fight by TKO. This is a huge renaissance in Andrei Arlovski's career. We know that he was at one time the UFC heavyweight champion way back in the day, but has just put it together now, winning, I believe, 4 fights in a row. Last 3 fights he's won were against Bigfoot Silva, Brendan Schaub, and now Travis Browne. He is on a roll, and he is now squarely in the title contender picture. He has really He has really gotten it together and gotten his striking right, because that fight proved. Because I thought Travis Browne was just going to be able to roll through him with ease and do whatever he wanted to, but that proved not to be so. Kudos to Andrei Arlovski, who just was dominant in that fight, and now is definitely one fight away, in my opinion, from a title shot, because he proved it. If you get him against the cage or try to go striking with him, he is ready to do it and ready to take your head off what he did to Travis Browne. So, like I said, one of the greatest one-round fights in heavyweight history. Now, it was by no means the greatest fight in heavyweight history. Joe, Rogan and Mike Goldberg going over the top as they always do, and all the MMA fanboys. Y'all might want to go back and look at Junior Dos Santos versus Stipe Miocic last year, that 5-round war, if you want to see one of the greatest fights in heavyweight history. But moving on, anyways, that's just my opinion. To the last fight on the main card, which was Joseph Benavidez versus John Moraga in the flyweight division. This fight was a lot of reckless striking, just going back and forth. Benavidez coming out with a couple of strikes. Now, it was just one after another in the first round, just crazy striking, and a head kick that I thought was going to take Benavidez' head off by Moraga. Wow, it was a great head kick, and if he had connected just a little bit more, I think he would have finished the fight, but Benavidez was able to use his wrestling and able to use his striking to just take Moraga down and just finish the fight. Actually, not finish the fight, but, take the fight in control and wherever he wanted it to. And for 3 rounds, he basically just did whatever he wanted to with his striking and takedowns. And Moraga seemed not to have much of an answer. And Benavidez, once again, looking good against a fighter that's not named Demetrius Johnson. And now he's just going to be a guy, I think, in the flyweight division who takes fights that come his way, because as we know, he's already fought twice for the title and lost both times. And I don't know, if he is going to get another title shot, because now with this win, he's just going to be, just a guy, I think, in the flyweight division. Now, if Demetrius Johnson would lose the title to somebody like a John Dodson, I believe that would really hurt his chances of getting that would actually improve his chance of getting a title shot, because he has never fought John Dodson. But I don't think Demetrius Johnson is going to be losing a title anytime soon, because he's just far and above the best fighter in the flyweight division. And like I said, nothing that Benavidez did in this fight is going to get him a title shot at all. But, kudos to him for another good win. And like he said in the post-fight press conference, looking to get as many fights he can get in this year. So with that being said, great card. A lot of great, action in this card. I want to hear in the comment section. What did you think? Did you think that Anthony Johnson versus Daniel Cormier was going to go the way it did? Did you think that Chris Weidman versus Vitor Belfort was going to go the way it did? But both of those title fights, were you happy with it? Were you not happy with it? Let me know. And also in the undercard, do you think Donald Cerrone deserves another title shot? Or actually deserves his first title shot? Let me know what you think about that. And I just want to leave you with one thought before I get out of here. Now, imagine if after Daniel Cormier said to John Jones, get your shit together, that John Jones came from under the octagon and proceeded to hit Daniel Cormier with the people's elbow with good old JR on the mic. Imagine how great that would have been. Yeah. With that being said, take it easy.